Hi students, I'm Dr. Bhavna. In this lecture we are going to read about the continuation of the chapter that is nothing but human health as well as diseases. So in the last class we already have done about the numerous topics that are related to human health and diseases. That is, what are the common diseases which are affecting the humans. So we have seen bacterial diseases, viral diseases, fungal, as well as protozoan helminths. These are the five types of organisms or pathogens which will affect and cause numerous diseases in human beings. So basically, when we have completed with that chapter called as human diseases, now we are going to see what are the measures which we should take to prevent these diseases. There should be some measures. Simply just studying about what are the diseases is not enough. We should take numerous steps to stop this spreading of infectious disease from one person to another. Suppose when you have started with, you have seen how is typhoid spreading. It is spreading through contaminated food and water, bacterial disease. Next, you have seen pneumonia. It is usually spread through air droplets. When you come to common cold also, it is air droplets. When you see malaria is usually spread by parasites. So see, first we have seen about typhoid. It is usually spread through food and water contaminated. When you come to common cold as well as pneumonia, these both are spread through air droplets. Next, malaria is usually spread through mosquito. When you see the numerous another protozoans parasites like that of amoebiasis also is spread through contaminated food and water itself. Amoebiasis, contaminated food and water. Then ascariasis also, it is through contaminated food and water itself. Then another disease what we have seen, Wuchereria, that is elephantiasis. It is spread through mosquito. Elephantiasis. Then other ringworm diseases and all, fungal diseases. It is also through contamination only, through soil and all. So we will include it under food and water itself. So numerous fungal diseases. So now we have classified into three types basically. That is nothing but fungal diseases like typhoid, amoebiasis, as well as ascariasis. Everything fungal diseases are spread through food and water. When it comes to cold as well as pneumonia, spread through air droplets. When you see malaria as well as elephantiasis, you have seen about mosquitoes. In the last class, we already have done about every disease we have done about the symptoms, their transmission, their you see how they are affecting the humans as well as what is the parasite which is causing everything we have seen basically everything we have seen. So now we are going to see what are the measures which we should follow to control these diseases basically. See, for contamination of food and water, first initially we should maintain personal hygiene as well as public hygiene. Personal as well as public hygiene is very much necessary. Personal hygiene means what? We should take good contaminated food and water should not be taken. That is, we should not take street foods and all. We should take the which are very good for health, as well as you should maintain the personal hygiene also. You should regularly take good healthy food as well as take good water and all. When you come to public hygiene means nothing but safe disposal of waste. All the waste which are present, they are usually dumped in the open yards. So that all should be stopped from now. Like that only you can prevent the transmission. That's why these all diseases are coming. They are very much prone in India. If there is good water and food which is available, people will not be suffering from these diseases. When there is stagnant water and all, if there is no proper disposal of waste, then only the food is usually contaminated or water is usually contaminated. So we should take personal hygiene as well as public hygiene should be maintained by disposing the waste safely and all. So this is like that you should take personal care as well as public hygiene. When you come to malaria as well as elephantiasis, they are usually spread through mosquitoes. So you near the mosquitoes, the stagnant water should not be there in your areas. You should usually prevent them, as well as numerous insecticides as well as pesticides should be used in your community to prevent these diseases. You being doctors should create awareness to numerous people regarding these diseases and how to properly dispose the waste products. If there is stagnant water and all only, it is more prone to mosquitoes, as well as if there is no proper disposal of waste. So that should be done properly in case of mosquitoes. When you come to cold as well as pneumonia, there is only one thing that is nothing but you should stay away from the infected person. You should not use their things which are generally used by everyone. You should usually maintain some distance, as well as air also, fumigations and all should be properly done. For this all, personal as well as professional hygiene, that is public hygiene, is very much necessary to prevent all these diseases. We have read symptoms and all, we have read about how to prevent them also. There is only one thing, that is nothing but safe disposal of waste should be done, as well as numerous insecticides, fumigations and all should be done properly, as well as we personally should take care about ourselves regarding drinking proper safe water as well as eating the healthy food itself. So these are the main things we should follow. If people nowadays who are suffering from these diseases itself, basically they are taking immunizations or vaccinations also have come into play. Basically the numerous, if the child is born, only diphtheria vaccines and all came into existence. So everything, polio and all, everything should be done clearly as well as safely, and you should stop these diseases from communicating from one person to another. So this is the proper maintenance should be done. So these are the main important points regarding the what are the common diseases in man, as well as how it spread and what are the measures which you should follow. Then next we are going to another important topic in human health and diseases, that is nothing but immunity. So basically in the immunity, daily as we know, we are crossing by numerous infectious agents as well as numerous diseases are present. When you are prone to numerous infectious agents, everything are not affecting our humans, everything are not affecting our body. Only few are affecting and they are causing disease. Why others are not able to enter our body? This is because of mainly the immunity which is present in our body. Or else, if our immune system becomes very low only, we are mostly prone to diseases. If our immune system is very active and if it is not allowing the foreign substances to enter our body, there is no proper way for the organisms to enter our body. So here everything, the concept is immunity. Immunity only plays a very important role in preventing numerous diseases. Basically, the immunity, when the pathogen will enter our body, it is of usually two types. That is nothing but innate immunity as well as acquired immunity. Innate immunity as well as acquired immunity. When you come to innate immunity means by name only we can understand. It is usually present at the time of birth. So this innate immunity is usually present at the time of birth. When you are born only, there is some immunity which will exist in our body. That is nothing but innate immunity. Acquired immunity. It is acquired from the another pathogen. Suppose if when it is entering our body, first by memory it will recognize and then it will affect. So it is immunity which is acquired in later years. That is nothing but acquired immunity. It is acquired during later years. So innate is present at the time of birth. Acquired is usually in the later years you are mostly susceptible to. So innate immunity acquired, and which is non-specific type. Innate immunity is non-specific type of immunity. Non-specific. That is, the immunity is acquired not based on one pathogen only. Suppose you are suffering from typhoid. Second time when you are suffering from typhoid, this acquired immunity will play an important role. So this is specific usually. But when you are suffering for the first time, it is non-specific. That is, there is no, like this pathogen already entered our body, it will not know because it is entering for the first time. But here it will know. It is due to memory. So this is specific type. Specific type. The pathogen here will be recognized. So it is called as specific. Here the pathogen is not recognized. So it is called as non-specific type of difference. So two main differences which you should remember for acquired immunity as well as innate immunity. Innate immunity means which is present at the time of birth. Acquired immunity, it is present in the later years and it is usually by memory. And then this is non-specific type of defense and this is specific type of defense. These are the two important NEET questions which you should remember between the innate immunity as well as acquired immunity. So now we are going to discuss about the innate immunity in detail. So innate immunity, we have seen it is usually present at the time of birth and it is a non-specific type of defense. Means already in your body there is some immunity which is present. It is present in four forms basically in the innate immunity. It is nothing but four barriers are present. That is physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers, as well as cytokine barriers. Physical, physiological, cellular as well as cytokine. These are the four barriers which are associated with that of innate immunity. Innate immunity means it is present at the time of birth as well as it is a non-specific type of immunity. Four barriers which are associated: physical, physiological, cellular as well as cytokine. So basically in the physical barriers, what do you think are the physical barriers which prevent the microorganisms to enter our body? It is nothing but the main physical barrier is skin. Skin plays a very important role in not allowing the foreign substances or microorganisms to enter our body. Skin is basically the compound epithelium which is present. and it will not allow, it is present in 3 or 4 layers, and it will not allow the numerous microorganisms to enter our body. Next, skin is done. What is the other one? It is nothing but mucosal epithelium, which is lining the mucosal epithelium, which is lining the respiratory tract. Our respiratory, numerous air will enter our body, like we are breathing, right? Numerous oxygen will enter our body, and when oxygen is entering, impurities also will enter our body, but we are daily not suffering from diseases. If very harmful thing, virus will enter our body only, then we are suffering, or else we are not suffering. It is due to the mucosal epithelium which is lining the respiratory tract, as well as food which we eat also will contain so many amount of bacteria, but the mucosal lining of gastrointestinal tract which is present, as well as urinogenital tract which is present, it will not allow the one to cause diseases. So mucosal epithelium of respiratory tract as well as gastrointestinal tract will not allow the microorganisms to enter our body. Mucosal epithelium of respiratory as well as gastrointestinal. Respiratory as well as GIT will not allow the foreign substances to enter our body. These are the physical barriers which play a very important role. Again, there are physiological barriers. Physiological, physical is different. Physical means everything related to epithelium and skin only. Skin as well as mucosal epithelium. Epithelium means also outer lining only. So the physical things will come under physical. When you come to physiological, it is nothing but the tears from the eyes are also very good, to prevent the microorganisms which enter our eyes. Tears from the eyes, as well as acid in the stomach, mucus in the saliva, whatever food we consume. The mucus in the saliva prevents the entry of microorganisms. This is mucosal epithelium which I talked about in physical barriers. When it comes to physiological barriers, it is nothing but acid in the stomach, as well as acid in the stomach, then mucus in the saliva, acid in the stomach, mucus in the saliva, then tears from the eyes. Tears from eyes. They play an important role in preventing the entry of foreign substances. Then when you come to cellular barriers means nothing but they are the one which are present in the cells. Cellular means cells, macrophages as well as WBCs. All WBCs like neutrophils, lymphocytes, they play a defense mechanism of our body. In the chapter blood and all, we have discussed in detail, like neutrophils as well as lymphocytes. Everything will play an important role. So lymphocytes as well as WBCs, all WBCs and macrophages will play an important role. Next, when you come to cytokine barriers, cytokine means nothing but, suppose virus will infect our cells, right? Virus infected cells, they will secrete one cytokine, that is nothing but interferon. What is the use of this interferon? It will protect the non-virus infected cells. Virus infected cells in our body, first the virus will come and attack the cells, then they will become infected. but they want to protect the non-infected cells also. When the virus infected cells want to protect the non-virus infected cells, they secrete a substance which is called as interferon, which plays a very important role as cytokine barriers. So these are the four things which you should remember about the innate immunity. No need to get so much confused regarding this. Simply remember 3 4 points. That is nothing but innate immunity means, think innate means it is present at the time of birth. Then it is a non-specific type of defense mechanism, non-specific type. Then later they are again divided into 4 types. That is nothing but physical, physiological, cellular as well as cytokine. Physical barriers which are present are by name only we can understand. Physical means skin. Then later physiological barriers. Physiological barriers means here skin as well as mucosal epithelium that is lining the respiratory as well as gastrointestinal tract. When you come to physiological barriers, it is nothing but acid in the stomach, acid which is present in the stomach, mucus from the saliva, tears from the eyes. They act as physiological barriers. Don't get confused. Important neat question. Physical and physiological, don't get confused. Physical means only outer side, skin and epithelium. Physiological, tears, mucus in the saliva as well as acid in the stomach. Next, cellular barriers. Name, cells. Cells means what? Neutrophils as well as lymphocytes, WBCs, macrophages. Everything will come under cellular barriers. Then cytokine barriers. Cytokine barriers means what? They are interferons which play a very important role. Interferons, virus infected cells secrete a substance called as interferons which protect the non-infected cells. So interferons, cellular, physical, physiological. These are the 4 types which are associated with that of innate immunity. Then next we are going to acquired immunity. When you go to acquired immunity, in the acquired immunity, basically acquired immunity, it is nothing but, I already told you, it is a specific type of pathogen specific. It is pathogen specific as well as memory. That is, when you are suffering from already one disease, there will be memory that is associated with it. So this will act as a memory thing. Next, when a pathogen encounters the body for the first time, means whenever a pathogen for the first time when it enters our body, a response is produced in the body when it is entering for the first time. It will not know what is the pathogen that is entering. So that is called as primary response. Primary response. The body will give a response, right? When a foreign substance will enter the body for the first time, it is called as primary response. Next, when the pathogen is entering the body for the second time, it is called as secondary response. When the pathogen is entering the body for the first time, it is called as primary response. When the pathogen is entering the body for the second time or numerous times if it is encountering, that is nothing but the body will give a response, that is secondary response. So this is the main difference between the primary response as well as secondary response. When it enters for the first time, it is called as primary response, the response which is given by the body. When it enters for the second time, it is called as secondary response. That's all. So it is basically pathogen specific. That is memory, primary response as well as secondary response. So these are the responses which are given by the acquired immunity. To produce these two important responses, two are important. Two lymphocytes play a very important role. That is nothing but B lymphocytes as well as T lymphocytes. B and T lymphocytes play a very important role. So what is the use of this B lymphocytes? The B lymphocytes usually secrete numerous antibodies for the antigen. That is, suppose when a foreign organism is entering our body, the foreign organism is also called as antigen. So when this antigen is entering our body, antibodies should be produced to fight against the antigen. So where are these antibodies produced? Antigen is a foreign substance. The body will produce antibodies. Remember this important point. Antigens are produced by the foreign particle in the body. Then antibodies are produced to protect our body from numerous diseases. Antibodies are produced. So from where are these antibodies produced? These B lymphocytes will produce numerous antibodies. Produce antibodies. For the primary response and secondary response, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes play an important role. What is the role of this B lymphocytes? B lymphocytes will produce antibodies. T lymphocytes will act on B lymphocytes. T lymphocytes will act on B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. Means only B lymphocytes will produce antibodies. T lymphocytes will not produce antibodies, but they will allow the B lymphocytes, they help the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. Because antibodies are very necessary for all of us, right? Why antibodies are necessary? Because to protect against the diseases which are given by that of foreign particle. To protect ourselves, the immune system will play an important role. Normal barriers which are present during birth are acting, like physical, physiological, as well as you see cellular, cytokine barriers. These all will be acting, but additionally acquired immunity also plays an important role. How? By differencing between the primary response and secondary response, by B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. They also play a very important role by B lymphocytes as well as T lymphocytes. So B lymphocytes will produce the antibodies which are necessary to fight against the infectious diseases. Then T lymphocytes play a very important role. They will act or they'll help the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. So this is about the B lymphocytes as well as T lymphocytes. Then I'll just give you introduction. B lymphocytes will play an important role in humoral immunity. Whereas T lymphocytes will play an important role in cell-mediated immunity. Important need question which is asked so many times. What is related to that of humoral immunity? That is, B lymphocytes play a very important role to promote the humoral immunity, while as T lymphocytes, they play an important role on mediating the cell-mediated immunity. So this is about the acquired immunity. No need to get confused. Simply they are pathogen specific as well as memory. The primary response is when the pathogen encounters the body for the first time. When it encounters for the second time, it is called secondary response. These two responses are mediated by B and T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes, they produce antibodies. T, they do not produce antibodies but help the B to produce antibodies. B lymphocytes play an important role in humoral immunity. T lymphocytes play an important role in cell-mediated immunity. So this is about the introduction about the acquired immunity. Next class we are going to continue the rest half of the acquired immunity.